The numbers are staggering, and leaders say it is more important than ever that you take steps to protect your kids. Local officials say since COVID, child porn cases have risen by more than 2,000%.
Local and state leaders joined Attorney General Jason Miyares at a town hall in Lynchburg to discuss the problem and solutions. ABC 13's Rachel Tillapaw shares the steps they say you can take to keep your child from becoming a victim.
You are our first line of defense.
Equipping parents for the battle ahead, protecting kids online. Officials say porn is the main gateway for offenders before they exploit.
Every single person that ended up involved with child pornography or child solicitation started with adult porn.
Captain Steve Anders with the Bedford County Sheriff's Office says the numbers are increasing when it comes to the number of tips they receive about child exploitation. In 2008, Anders said they had 365 cyber tips. Right before COVID, broke 2,000. After COVID, 3,500. Then last year, 10,495 cyber tips came through Bedford. Attorney General Jason Miyares spoke to things parents can do to keep their kids safe.
Delay, give them filters, parental control, and time limits.
He also says it's important to have parameters, like knowing your child's passcode and to set limits. Miyares says giving your child a phone that has access to the internet can cause problems.
The day you give your child a smartphone with no filters, with no time limits, with no protection, is a day that your child's innocence dies.
Some apps they spoke to being problematic included Kik, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and Monkey. They said to be aware of what devices can connect to the internet, especially with online gaming.
Parents in the past, they had no idea that the Xbox or their PlayStation in their kids' room could connect to the internet, and they can communicate with anybody.
Captain Anders says offenders could be anyone from anywhere.
Offenders go where the children are.
Harrison says this malicious activity is affecting the Lynchburg and surrounding areas. They say to keep the conversations going with your children about who they're chatting with online and how. Back to you.
All right, very important. Thank you, Rachel. Miyares says keeping kids safe online also ties into the governor's recent executive order aimed at forbidding cell phones in K-12 public schools. This executive order, which Governor Youngkin announced last month, mandates all state school districts to implement cell phone-free policies by January of 2025.
I'm old enough to remember what it was like to just go to school without your phone. It can happen. It actually works. And what we've seen is the more time you spend online on your phone and on the device, the more cases we're seeing where kids are just distracted and then they're dealing with anxiety and depression.
Many of our local districts are already compliant with the no cell phone policy or have just recently tweaked their policies to prohibit cell phone use in classrooms.
The Virginia Department of Education just released the draft guidance for a cell phone-free education in schools. It defines phone-free as bell to bell, meaning phones should be off and put away from the first bell to the dismissal bell. The department will issue its final guidance on September 16th. The goal is to enact this policy on January 1st next year.
Lynchburg City Schools are implementing a new ID system for 3 elementary schools, Perrymont, Bass, and Bedford Hills. It will be a finger scanning system that uses similar technology to your smartphone. John Collins, Director of Information Technology for LCS, says this will help to the efficiency of these schools' lunch lines.
And security-wise, could you explain if this is an encrypted system?
It is encrypted. So I know that there's a lot of concerns about the security of the system and fingerprinting our children. We don't fingerprint the children. The software just scans for a few different points on the student's finger, and then it converts that into a number, and then that number is then encrypted. So there's no way to take the final product and trace it back to a student.
Collins says it is up to the parents if they would like for their children to use this.